Hey everybody, welcome back to the Daily Fan Racing YouTube channel. I'm your host, Gordo Gambles. Today we are talking about Indianapolis. We have ourselves a road course at our disposal, and we're back after our hiatus from last week. And I'm joined as always by my two wonderful co-hosts here with Ryan Larkin and Jason from DFS NASCAR, back with another breakdown and another road course at our disposal. Before we do so, let's check in with the guys. I know Jace was at the course last week. So what was your overall thoughts on it and how'd it go?
It was fun, man. It's been a long time since I've been to a Cup Series race. This is actually the first time I've taken my family to one. Like my boy, he's been to see the trucks at Eldora. He's been to see the trucks at Kentucky. My wife's been to a couple of Xfinity races. My little girl, she's been to some local short track stuff. But this is the first time the whole family to the Cup Series, and it's a lot of fun. We had to dodge some rain. Obviously, that was not fun to start the day with. Getting wet right when you get there and get some looks from the wife as we're standing in the rain and wondering if the race is going to even take off, but cleared out and got to see us start. And kids had a blast, and we got to see a pretty good race for Michigan. Got to see some restarts, got to see some crashes. You go to the race, you want to see some stuff happen, right? You don't want to see them run green the whole time. So that was fun. The kids enjoyed it, and we actually drove back and got to enjoy a Monday race, from the track, and that's nice because you can spread out. You get to put your coolers wherever you want. You can sit wherever you want. The kids can have the jungle gym going on up and down the bleachers while you're watching the race. So, and then you got to see Buescher go back to back. Fun, right?
Buescher.
Who would have thought that? I did not see that coming going into the week, but that's good on them, good on RFK, and managed to avoid some of the chalk bombs that went off and came out of the weekend profitable, so that's always good.
Yeah, well, last weekend I was in Nashville for the UFC fights, watching them live, so I didn't catch anything. But the other thing too is we didn't even do a show last week, so I didn't have the time to glorify the man right here who did help me cash a plus 5,000 ticket on Chris Buescher live. So shout out to you, Ryan. I guess you're cool or something. I don't know. I know I am very grateful for your shout out there, and it was cool seeing him go back to back. What was your overall thoughts on the race last week and even the week prior?
Yeah, just so you know, I'm pretty sure that's the first time I've ever given out a live bet.
It is. It's the first time. And I jumped on it because you never tell me to.
Yeah, I don't bet. There might have been a time 4 or 5 years ago where I told a buddy about Justin Allgaier in an Xfinity race, but I don't do betting. It's not legal here, and I just don't have energy for it. So I just happened to be looking at the odds and thought that was ridiculous. He was plus 8,000 on DraftKings at the time, but they're not legal where you are. So it was still good to get the plus 5,000, and I'm glad we could make some money off of that. Last week was cool. I enjoyed the race. I thought the race was really cool. I faded chalk and ended up on Kyle Busch as kind of one of my pivots. That sucked 5 laps in, and I was pissed, and I thought, great, my whole weekend screwed, until every single chalk driver pretty much crashed after him. So, watching Bell, Byron, and Bowman, the Killer Bees, all take a beating helped me in the long run. So that was cool. The race was great to watch. Still impossible to pass the leader, which sucks. I feel like Truex was definitely better. But if anyone's going to win, Chris Buescher's a cool guy to get it and all that. Probably should have been Tyler Reddick. They don't leave a wheel loose there because he cleared Buescher out of the pits. And it's a shame to see Reddick lose another one, kind of, not his own doing. But the race weekend as a whole was cool. I'm excited for this weekend. This is the 1 year anniversary of Lane Riggs winning me a couple grand. So I'm very hyped on Lane Riggs being in the Spire truck. That's gonna be cool tomorrow night, and then hopefully the last Indy road course race of our lifetime.
Okay, with that note, we will start breaking down this course. As always, guys, make sure to hit the like button down below, subscribe to the channel, show some love, and we'll be breaking down this entire card from a DraftKings perspective. Might even pull up some odds. We might talk some winners at the end, but make sure to show some love here as well so we keep on going. Let's dive into it. Let's talk about this course. First things first, Jason. Please tell me about really what we're looking to expect here from a course standpoint and how that's going to affect your construction.
Yeah, I mean, just from a DraftKings standpoint, I think it's we've made this transition at the beginning of the season on road courses to remove the stage breaks, the cautions at the stage breaks, and all that stuff. So now we have 3 races sample now to see kind of what the results been on DraftKings, right? So I made this little pie chart here. You guys know I like my pie charts pulled up that you can see. The top 8 scorers. Do you not have it? You guys don't have it, do you?
Give us a minute. We'll get it up there. Keep talking, though.
It doesn't matter. But basically, the pie chart, what it's going to show you is going to show you 4 equal slices, right? I mean, it's basically all the scoring has broken up pretty evenly. If you look at the front of the field, it's actually performed worse with the removal of stage cautions, which is kind of contradictory than what I would have thought going into it. I thought the front of the field would do better with the removal of stage cautions, but they've accounted for 33% of the top 8 scorers in 2022, and they're down 8% this year, only accounting for 25%, right? The other massive shift when you look at scoring is an increase in position differential scoring. With the addition of strategy and no stage breaks, we're seeing more position differential scored. So far in 2023, the back half of the field has counted for 50% of the top 8 scorers on DraftKings. That's up from 40% in 2022. There's been 18 performances in those races of drivers scoring more than 10 position differential points, and all but 3 of those drivers finish inside the top 8 in DraftKings scoring. So position differential has been huge this year, and that's even on some tracks where passing is hard. Sonoma, very hard to move through the field. Chicago, very hard to move through the field, but we still see position differential weighing out. It's pretty heavy here. Furthermore, when you're looking towards the top scorers on DraftKings in the 3 road course races this year, we see that 2 out of 3 top scorers came from guys starting 31st or worse. So the top scorers came from the very back of the field, right? And then when we look at the top 3 scorers from each slate, the group from 30th on back accounts for 4 of the 9 performances, and positions 21 and over account for 6 of 9. So a lot of big performances coming from the back half of the field in these road course races so far in 2023. And conversely, like when you look at the top 5 starters, this is where I thought we would have wanted to focus. It's only had 1 top 3 DK performance so far this season. And it's large part, due to the dominator points, they're limited on these tracks. And now that we have them being split up with some, strategy and all that, you're not seeing a ton scored. When you look at Dom points, there's only been 4 performances this year on road courses of 10 plus Dom points. And those 4 performances, only 2 finish inside the top 3 in DraftKings store, and 2 finish 18th or worse. So you never know what you're going to get. This is the week to kind of like get different at the top, right? You don't have to jam in those guys up front. It's a kind of a low risk fade, I feel like, to getting off some of that chalk and really kind of focusing in on those guys starting towards the top who might be a little cheaper, who's going to score 7 to 8 Dom points, because that's realistically what you're going to get here, and then just cram in the position differential.
Hey, look at the visual.
There it is. Got it.
My bad on that. That one's completely on me. But Ryan, that allows you some time to talk about this this chart here as well, and really look to see what your thoughts are. I know you may not be the biggest fan of this race in general, but what's your overall consensus going into lineup construction?
Yeah, so I think we're looking at a small sample size here. I think that's going to be my takeaway on it, is that small sample size, especially when you consider how chaotic COTA was, especially at the end. That race just turned into a complete mess. Chicago street course with the rain and with different avenues that allowed, and the way they screwed up that last pit stop and shortening the race and everything, it allowed guys like Chase Elliott to randomly end up in the lead. Justin Haley ended up almost winning that race, or I think he still finished second as a result of just pit strategy. It had nothing to do with anything they did on track. They got lucky that NASCAR shortened the race, right? If Austin Dillon doesn't crash out, he's in that exact same boat as well. So I think the
chaos, though, right? I mean, you mentioned that chaos, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to get to.
If you're going to chaos, like, this is the week, right? This is
the week. And so I think fundamentally the Chicago street course race, just you have to throw some of that out. And then the COTA last bit of that race was just a mess too. But this Indy road course race has also been complete chaos. The first year we had a curb come up, which I tweeted it out, a video of it, where it took out 12 to 15 cars. And you had a completely awkward finish as a result. And you had guys with huge place difference, results and all that. The restarts here last year at the end of this race were awful. We saw a lot of guys crash out. We saw Ross Chastain get a penalty for taking a shortcut that really wasn't a shortcut. We had some skewed finishing results. Bubba Wallace ended up in the top 10, which is ridiculous on a road course. A lot of weird things happened here last year and in the first race and at Chicago and at COTA the last 2 years. And you just kind of need to fundamentally think, hey, chaos is probably going to happen. So while I do think these numbers are skewed, I do think there's some validity to the fact that if we do get chaos, the place differential guys can really show up. And, from 21st to 30th, that's 10 guys, and then 31st on back, which keep in mind, there's 39 cars, not 36. So there's going to be a couple extra back there that may be in a little bit better equipment. You got 20 drivers that if 3 of them just have good place differential and get a top 15 finish, they're going to score amazingly well. So I still think what Jason said is right on the place differential side of things, but I think we will see the guys starting towards the front be a little bit more consistent. Denny Hamlin qualified on pole the last 2 of them and had issues in both of them. That skewed that. Whereas I think at Chicago, he might have still had the best car or second best car to SVG. He just got in the wall in the rain early in the race and took forever to recover and things like that. So if we get more of a standard weekend, I think we'll see a couple guys towards the front deliver big weekends, but we'll still want some place differential.
I will say Sonoma, right? No chaos at Sonoma. Nobody inside the top 5 scored well at Sonoma either. I know you mentioned, Denny Hamlin started on the pole and kind of fell back. I get that.
Well, he wrecked. He
right.
wrecked.
He wrecked. I'm still saying nobody inside the top 5. So not 2, 3, 4, 5. Nobody did. Right. And I think when you talk about chaos, like I know they've made this adjustment on the restarts. Maybe that's might taper some chaos, but still, I went back. Oh, sorry, I teased that. But when I went back and rewatched the race, right? There was all kinds of shit that happened regardless, that had nothing to do with the restarts, like just stuff going on all across the track through this whole race. The track was slick, and all they kept saying was that the sun was out. It's hot. It's going to be hot again this weekend. 88 max UV index scheduled for Sunday. So that sun is going to be bearing down that track. That track gets slick when it's hot and in that sun, and it's going to be messy regardless if they got things fixed, I feel.
And the other side of the race last year is that there was no tire wear. Tires did not matter. Right. They were irrelevant whether you took them or not. Ryan Blaney stayed out on like 20 lap old tires and was able to stay top 3. Tire wear is non-existent based off of everything we've seen. And that opens things up for drivers to pull a strategy move like Blaney did last year. Blaney was 15th place car, but he was just up front the whole time. So that can allow guys to take stabs on strategy, move through the field. It can change up a lot of things. The only guy that didn't affect last year was Tyler Reddick. Everyone else, they needed track position or it kind of didn't matter, which was frustrating to see, honestly. And that's what led to all that carnage. That's what led to guys, not just in turn 1, but at the back of the backstretch there at the end of that long straight on the backstretch, guys dive bombing in there and taking each other out. So I think we'll see some carnage to an extent no matter what.
Yeah, and I still think even without the carnage, like this is I think this is a road course that these guys can pass on, right? It's not like these other road courses. There's a lot of passing opportunities. Like if a good road course racer starts with the back, like a Dinger, like a Larson, like somebody who can move to the field, they're going to get to the field and score points. So I think that's the other thing is they can make moves here. So.
Well, the other thing too is you kind of tease it. And here's the thing too is I forgot the chart. I forgot everything. I didn't forget about the restarts. There's something new happening with the restarts. There's something brewing. And Ryan's going to tell us all about that as soon as he pops his head back up.
Who, me? Yeah. So, at Chicago, they moved the restart zone before the last corner in an effort to kind of eliminate those big pile-ups in the turn 1. They're doing the same thing here this weekend. So the restart zone is actually between the last 2 corners. And the hope is that the field won't be bunched up. If you've been watching the Xfinity Series over the past month, you've seen 2 pile-ups on restarts on straightaways just because of people being too aggressive, essentially, right? Last year, these restarts were on the front stretch at Indy, which is a super long front stretch. And by the time they got to turn 1, it just jammed up and they're going 5 wide, and it's horrible. So now the thinking is move that restart zone behind the last corner. They take off, and the field just won't be bunched up, and it'll eliminate a lot of the carnage. So that's a good thing. I do think it'll work. I do not think we'll see anything like we did last year because half the field's not even going to be through. I think it's turn – I don't remember track map. Like turn 12. I think it's 12 and 13 or 11, 12, whatever. They won't be through the second to last corner yet. Half the field will still be kind of making their way around when the leaders are restarting. So the field will get separated, which will be good. That will alleviate some of that nonsense. So I think that'll eliminate some variance, which is a good thing.
Sounds good to me. And with that being said, let's dive into this. Before we do, want to shout out everyone hanging out here. Make sure to hit the like button down below, subscribe to the channel. Leave any questions or concerns you may have in the comments. I promise I won't be the one answering them because you don't want to hear from me. But I will read out this one right here. He says, hey guys, James shouting out the love for Jason here as well. Hope you have an article up. I think you will, right?
Yeah, I am planning on it.
All right, appreciate you, James. Thank you for tuning in. And if you got any more questions, feel free to leave them there. But let's jump into these drivers to watch. And as always, let's preface: these are drivers to watch, not to play, not to fade. Plays and Fades, great YouTube channel, by the way. But it's also one that I think you have to go out there, and we're looking to see who we are looking to have our eyes on prior to qualifying, prior to all this stuff happening. And Ryan's just leaving us, which is why we are going to go to Jason first for our top tier driver to watch this week.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the guy who's riding into Indy with a ton of momentum. You know, we just talked about earlier in the show, back-to-back wins, back-to-back Buescher, right? I mentioned earlier that I wanted to target some guys this week that are going to be a little cheaper in that range, who I think can score some dominator points, who might start towards the front. And I think Buescher could be one of those guys this week at only 9,200. His average finish of 8.44 on road courses in the next gen car is second to only Chase Elliott. He has 2 top 5s and has finished inside the top 10 in 8 of 9 races so far in the next gen car. That's 2 more top 10s than anyone else in the series in this car. He's done this while also having the worst average starting position amongst those drivers who are priced 9,000 or above. So he's been providing a solid source of position differential at +6 spots per race since the start of 2022. As a result, he's finished inside the top 10 in DraftKings scoring in all 3 races so far in 2023, and has been top 6 in 2 of 3. He's finished 10th in this race last year, and that was after catching on fire, going a lap down, and getting back into 10th. And I know there's a lot of carnage. 2 laps down. I know a lot of carnage got him there, but he still had 9 fastest laps in that race, despite having to drive through the field. So this is a team and driver that has speed right now. They have momentum. They're coming into this is one of his better track types. I'm not sure if Buescher gets 3 in a row here, but like if you're Chris Buescher and you're coming to a road course after winning 2 in a row, like this is like, he'll never have a better opportunity than right now to win 3 in a row in his career, probably. So this is it. I think you gotta like Buescher this week.
Okay, yeah, I don't mind it.
Well, which is some of these other guys might do, right? So he's gonna be racing for this guy. He can win now, right? He's got some in the bank.
It's a high ceiling, and usually we're up in the 10Ks this week, or usually for the top 2 drivers to watch. Not too bad at 9.2. Ryan, will you be following the trend of the low salary?
Yeah, so I'm looking even cheaper than Jason did. I got Denny Hamlin at 9K. Denny Hamlin hasn't scored a top 10 finish on a road course with this car. So on paper, this looks like a bad play. On paper, this looks like a guy who is under-delivered on road courses. But I think there's a lot of upside here, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Denny Hamlin does in qualifying. This is why it's drivers to watch and not picks to do well, right? So Denny Hamlin has scored the last 2 poles on road courses. That has been a complete improvement off of what we saw last year with Toyotas on road courses. Road courses were Toyota's worst track type. They were horrific on road courses last year. That is completely turned around. Truex dominated Sonoma. Reddick dominated Coda. Hamlin 2 poles. It's obvious that Toyota's got speed. I think Denny Hamlin in the dry at Chicago was as fast as anyone, not named Van Gisbergen. And I really liked what he did. Now, the issue is lap 2, he put himself on the wall and had to play catch up the whole race, right? And Sonoma, he put himself on the wall and threw a top 5 finish away, right? So it's on Denny not to screw it up. But I think the speed in the cars here, I think this is a top 10, if not a top 5 potential at only 9K. With fast lap potential, with lap potential, he can go for the win. And if that speed carries over, keep in mind, he nearly won this race in 2021. You know, it took Chase Briscoe shipping him into the one of the final parts of the race for him not to win this race. So I just feel like Denny Hamlin's very sneaky. I think people are going to look at his race results and be like, hey, he sucks, whatever. And you can get low ownership on him here. I think even at 9K, he won't be super heavily owned. And on the flip side, and I think Jason touched on this, you can build more well-rounded lineups with guys like Hamlin and Buescher than if you're chasing, and don't get me wrong, Reddick and Truex are great plays, but it's an extra $1,500 to get Truex, and if Truex doesn't dominate, Hamlin just offers a lot better value, and you can build a more well-rounded lineup at a track where I think you're going to want to try to hammer in 5 really good plays instead of 1 dominator. So I really like what this option brings, but he could completely bust like he's done the last 2 road courses.
Yeah, okay, and I guess I mean, touching on like the guys of the 10K, like what's the ceiling? You know, like what's the ceiling you're passing up on a 10K guy, right? I mean, there's not. you're not passing up a 150 point, score that you can see on these tracks. I look right now, the highest score since the start of 2022 on road courses is 84 points, and 73, 71, 68, 66, 64. So 60-ish points probably, right, is what you're passing.
The thing you're scared about is that Truex does what he did at Sonoma, which was 73.8 points. He started 8th, led 51 laps. Like, that's what you're afraid of. Right. Now, I can still cash lineups if I miss that but to be optimal, to be perfect, you need that one dominator. But it's not a guarantee that anyone does that. It's not a guarantee that we don't see 3 guys split this race. It's not a guarantee that the dominator even finishes at the front, right? So I think it's wholly possible that you just want to pay down and you just want to build a better lineup. And even if you do go Truex, Hamlin's still super affordable. Yeah. Butcher's still super affordable. I mean, Truex is only $10,500. That's not super expensive. So, but I do think there's a lot of value in this area that we've talked about. And I'm going
8,900.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's a decent one to get us started here. Let's quickly shout out the chat one more time. Dustin did say, make a comment on Buescher there for Jason's pick, saying he used to think Buescher had success on road courses, though pitting before stage breaks. Now his gym running well to see how this weekend goes. Back to back, Buescher doesn't sound too bad. Shout out also to Andrew here, Fast Cars, Fast Money, and Woody for the win for saying he loves the content. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure to like button down below, subscribe to the channel. And let's dive into our mid-tier drivers to watch. Ryan, we'll go right back to the well with you here. Who is your mid-tier driver to watch?
So my mid-tier driver to watch is actually not on DraftKings yet. So I had to go with someone else. But Brody, I'm going to go ahead and shout out. Brody Kostecki is a supercars driver, same as Shane Van Gisbergen, coming from Australia, going to run this race with us. He's not on DraftKings right now, but plus 2,000. I expect him to be kind of in that 8,500 range. And I think he's going to be a guy that can contend for a top 5. He's driving for RCR, and that's really good. Because he's not available, I'll get to him more at the end, actually. But because he's not on DraftKings yet, and I still wanted to cover this guy anyways, my mid-tier driver to watch is Kamui Kobayashi. So Kamui Kobayashi, first off, is 7,100. He's driving a third 2311 car. I've already talked about the Toyotas being fast, with Hamlin, with Truex. They've been good on road courses this year. So Kamui Kobayashi is going to get into a fast car. That's a given. If you're unfamiliar with Kamui Kobayashi, he is incredibly talented at road racing. Jason, raise your hand. So Kobayashi's a world endurance champion. He's a 24-hour Le Mans champion. He's 24-hour Daytona champion 2 times. He's one of the best sports racers ever, or at least in this generation. He's raced F1. He's raced everything there is. He's an unbelievable talent. You probably, if you were watching Jimmy Johnson run sports cars a couple years ago, he was the guy pushing Jimmy to be better, telling Jimmy to get his head out of his ass, right? Like, Kamui Kobayashi is one of the absolute best right now in the world at road racing. The only thing that hinders this versus what Brody and Shane Van Gisbergen offer is the fact that they run V8 supercars that are just like, NASCAR. Kamui's coming from elite hypercars, running World Endurance Championship. It's not exactly apples to apples, but he's a phenomenal road racer, and he's only 7,100 and what should be a car capable of a top 10 finish. So I love the value here. I love that we get to spotlight someone like this. He's incredibly talented, incredibly good. And he's only 36 years old. This isn't like Kimi Räikkönen, who's retired, who's 42, and is like, yeah, I'll go run NASCAR for one off. Kamui's in the prime of his career. He's winning all the big races around the world with Toyota, and Toyota's doing a special, event with him. Essentially, this is all because Toyota wants to promote their brand and him and everything they do on a global scale. So they got high expectations for him to do well, and I think he will in this race.
Okay, yeah, I don't mind. Not a name I can go over there and pronounce too well, but it's someone to keep your eye on. And last time you commented on a new guy, go ahead.
And so you can probably go back on my Twitter and find it. Like, I'm a huge Kobayashi fan. Like, this is not a guy that I'm unfamiliar. Like, this is a guy I'm really, really happy with to see him here. I'm a huge fan of his. I actually, for some people know, I have about 30 F1 diecast, and he has a Caterham car that I wanted from back in 2013 that I just never could get my hands on. Now it's like $120, and I can't justify it because I'm not rich like Jason. But I love this dude, and I'm so excited to see him as a fan of auto racing. Like, he's just awesome. Like, he's just a great dude, fun personality, and I hope he does really good, and I'll celebrate if he does.
What's your thoughts on him opening at plus 7,000?
Just books not knowing what they got. I don't think it's like Shane Van Gisbergen in the sense where he has realistic shot to win. So he should not be, plus 1,000 or anything like that. But plus 3,000, plus 4,000, like this is still a Toyota car, an elite car, with an elite team, with an elite driver. Like I don't understand why he's back there with some of the worst in terms of odds. Like that, he should be. They should give him more respect, but they don't know who he is. Like they don't even know the NASCAR drivers that they're putting out odds for. So I can't expect them to know him. So it's fine. Hopefully some people sprinkled it in there and he could run fifth and there's a cash out option. I don't think he wins, but if you can cash out and double your money, that'd be cool.
You take that any day of the week. Now, Jason, can I pronounce your mid-tier drivers to watch his name?
God, I hope so. Like, I am so glad we got Larkin here because, man, like, I didn't even know. There's a guy who's not on DraftKings. I didn't even know was racing until I talked to Ryan before this race. So thank God he is on here. But yeah, I'm not going to make a mistake. I'm going to probably bet these guys this time, unlike last time. But no, the guy I'm going to go with a more traditional name, a more traditional driver, one we've all be familiar with. I'm going to go with Michael McDowell. He sets up to be massive value, I feel like, this week at 7,500. When you're looking at road course performances in this next-gen car, McDowell comes in with the third best driver rating and third best average position in those 9 races. So top 3 type talent here as far as in this next-gen car. You got Mike McDowell here at 7,500. He's also tied for the second most top 10s at 6, and he has the third best average position on the 3 road course races so far this season. So he's even taken the momentum, in 2022 and still, have ran very strong so far in 2023. Finished 8th in this race last year after starting 7th. So a nice solid run. The one concern I do have for McDowell this week, though, is he is on the points bubble. So you don't know what he's going to do. He could trade, track position for stage points at some point in this race. But I still think, if he shows that speed and practice and qualifying, McDowell is still a good enough road course driver that I don't think it'll hurt him as much. I still think he can drive back through the field on a track like Indy where, I think he can make some passes. So I think we were able to see him do that this year when he got spun out at COTA, right? Towards the end of that race, was able to make up a ton of positions in like the last 6 laps of that race. So really like Michael McDowell this week, $7,500 for a guy who probably going to run top 5 is really strong. I like him.
Yeah, I don't mind that there. It seems like a good play for us to get our week going, and we have to watch him because, like we said, it's not our driver's a target here. It's someone we're going to watch throughout the week so he does a qualifying, and should be a good one to keep our eye on.
Thank you for clarifying that every time, so that way people don't bet him every time.
Let me add to that, though, is one thing I noticed at some of the other road courses is that the pit window kind of became some guys did come in, but the pit window seemed to kind of, because there are no stage precautions, be right after the stage like right after that stage ended. Then guys started considering pitting. It
would only matter if a caution came out, right?
Yeah, because there's no guarantee of a caution. The guys weren't just funneling in 3-4 laps before the end of the stage. Right. It wasn't as obvious of a situation. Guys were running longer. I think that kind of helps these guys like McDowell, Ty Gibbs, who's right there on the bubble with them. Those are the 2 guys that should both run top 10 or contend for that type of run. And they're going to be battling each other. Like they're going to be watching what each other does. So I agree to an extent that you have to be cautious of it, but I'm not too worried about it. I'm less worried about it this week than I have been in past years or what have you with the cut line and pit windows and stuff. I think McDowell can kind of just run this race however he wants.
Yeah, because even if you think of like the only other option, right, is a short pit, is to pit as soon as the window opens, which some drivers might do, hope to catch caution, But really, it's not going to be a bunch of drivers. It's not going to flip the field like we would have seen in the past.
Yeah, and most likely, if he is running 5th, 6th, 7th in that range where he is getting stage points, then he's probably going to have a big enough gap to like 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th that he can run a couple of laps long. There is no tire fall off here, so it's not like he's going to give up seconds at lap time. He's probably just going to come out roughly where he was anyway, so he can run long. The only thing that scares him is a caution. And if he's outside of the top 10, then he can short pit, and he can take that gamble. So I'm not super worried about it, honestly. Yeah. And yes, it could come back to hurt him at some point, but I'm less worried about that this week than I probably would have ever been.
Okay, yeah, not a bad look to keep things going. And before we get to our value tier driver to watch, let's answer a few questions here. We got saying that we are the favorite DFS crew to watch. I'll take that.
I
Let's
like
go.
it. Thank you.
Getting on the NASCAR DFS scene here. But yeah,
Give him a hat or something. Good Lord.
Yeah, where is mine? Yeah.
I'm out of hats.
Give him a pencil. I don't know. Give him something.
I want to get some more, but I don't have a job, so.
Well, you just need Mr. One second, let me make sure I get this right. Kobayashi to go out here and win for you at plus 7,000.
That would work.
We also have Andrew here saying, will the new restart zone prevent turn 1 chaos?
We talked about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think so, yeah. I mean, that's kind of what we touched on already. I definitely think it will.
I don't think so. I don't think it's going to prevent it, I don't, because, I mean, I watched the race and they were still wrecking coming around lap 2 in turn 1. Like, they were still wrecking. Like,
it's true.
They're going to wreck. There's somebody's still going to do it. Like, they can still shoot it. They're going to be close.
I mean, hell, 20 laps into a run, Kyle Larson torpedoed Ty Dillon. So
I just think instead of having one like 6 or 7 car wreck, you're going to have about 3 2-car wrecks going.
I think it's less likely to bring out a caution. I think you could see some guys get spun around. Might be a 1-car incident. I think the overall carnage and chaos will be limited. But yeah, I do think you'll still see some incidents because it's a phenomenal passing zone. So guys are going to try it.
Okay, sounds good to me. And we also have here thinking, do you think the regular NASCAR guys were embarrassed that a ringer came in and won at Chicago? Wasn't there also a ton of viewership on that show as well?
Yeah. I don't think they are.
I think they can take solace in the fact it was wet, right? I think that's what they can tell themselves. It was a wet track. It was raining. This is what this guy does. It's a street course. I mean,
that's like saying, "Hey, I'm gonna do something that I've never done before, and I'm gonna do it against someone who does this all the time. And just because I'm using my equipment, I should win." It's not really how that works, right? That's like, I don't know. It's just, there's not really any parallels in sports. I guess it's kind of like if you were to play on clay against Rafael Nadal in tennis, and it's like you're never beating Rafael Nadal, no matter which racket you use or what have. Like, he's just better on clay than anyone else ever in the history of the sport. So you can play badminton against him on clay, and he's probably still going to beat you, type deal. I don't know if that's not a great comparison, but that was a special circumstance. That was a very special circumstance that I don't think carries over this week. These guys have run 2 races, at Indy already on the road course. There's no walls right there next to the car. I mean, running a street course is impossible. The only areas where Van Gisbergen was really better was the final sector, like the final corners when it was really tight. That doesn't exist here. This is going to be a standard NASCAR road course race. He will be good, but no, there were a lot of advantages that played into his wheelhouse. That's a special occasion.
All right. Well, we'll end it off here saying Rick's watching us on his way to New Orleans. Safe travels, my friend. And hats. Ooh. Yeah. Speaking of hats, let's throw this on here. Yeah. Damn right, baby. Okay. We'll get going. We'll go value tier driver to watch. Jason, we're going to go right back to you. Who is your value tier driver to watch?
I'm going to go with somebody that I don't think we generally think about when you come to a road course. I'm going to go with Ryan Preece. Preece has shown some promise through 3 road course races so far in this number 41 car this season. He's finished inside the top 15 in 2 of 3 races, and he was in contention for another top 15 in the other race before crashed out late at Kodo or got in some trouble. I think he wrecked out. I can forget what happened, but he DNF'd that race about 7 laps to go, but he was definitely running inside the top 15. His average position on road courses in 2023 is 18.16, and that's 19th best, and that's better than the likes of Kevin Harvick, Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric, Justin Haley, Eric Jones. All those guys priced way ahead of him, and his average position is in front of him. $5,400. It seems so cheap here.
It's stupid.
Yeah, he's also done this while being really terrible at qualifying. He started 22nd or worse in all 3 races. So, I mean, a lot of position differential he scored you. I don't know. He could be a sneaky source of cheap PD this week, or do you think everybody's going to be on him? I'm not sure, but $5,400 is way.
$5,400, everyone's going to be on him, I think. Yeah, it's impossible not to be. Like, it's too good. Like, I mean, yes, he's hit or miss, I guess you can say, when he was at JTG, but that's JTG. When you look at him this year, his speed's been good. He was 13th at Sonoma. Yeah, I just feel like this is a top 20 guy that's basically priced like the 32nd.
Mhm.
It just doesn't make sense. And even if he runs 20, as long as he qualifies 32nd like he has been, it's a free 30 some points at 5,400. Like it's just too cheap. He should be 64 to 6,800. It's just flat out too cheap.
Yeah, I don't understand how they did it.
Now, Ryan, you pride yourself on not taking the same guy as the other co-hosts. Does that mean you were looking to take Ryan Preece? And if so, who did you settle on instead?
Yeah, so it's not that I pride myself. It's just I want us to highlight more people. So I try not to take who Jason does because I don't want to just be like, yeah, Ryan Preece is the best player and we move on. Although some people might like it if we just moved on. But no, my pick this week is Todd Gilliland. So, Gilliland is a driver who I believe is really good at road course racing. I've thought this for years. I've seen a lot of good performances. Chicago, he spun out like 2 or 3 times and still finished 19th. He has good speed on road courses. He's still making rookie mistakes. The positives for him is he was 4th here at Indy last year with this car. He qualified 9th. Everyone was like, I'm not playing him. Finished 4th. He was there all day. He finished 10th at COTA earlier this year. He's offered really good performances, and he's not a good qualifier. Like Preece, he's often starting towards the back, but he's giving you place differential upside, and he's a top 20 contender. At 5,900, very good price. I think he has top 15, even top 10 upside, as we've seen in 2 of the last 5 road courses. He's accomplished that. I just feel like it's another good value option. Obviously, Preece at $500 cheaper is still the better option. But I think Gilliland checks a lot of the same boxes. He can accomplish a lot of the same things. And we've seen and a lot that helps him is the fact that his teammate is Michael McDowell, and they focus on these road courses there. So his cars are good and capable. They'll have enough speed, and he's a capable enough driver to get a good finish. So I'm kind of hoping both Preece and him qualify in the back, and I can load up on both. And I think they're the clear 2 best options, but once chaos hits, you never know. But yeah, they're the 2 favorites for me down low.
Yeah, I like Gilliland. He's been a solid source of value all year, or last 2 years on these road courses. Like you said, it was like as I was scrolling down, like I expected my pick to be Todd Gilliland. As I go down and look, I'm like, what the hell is Preece doing $500 cheaper than him? But yeah, good pick there.
Well, with that, guys, 37 minutes in, we got to get to our race winners here. And we're actually going to Ryan first this week. Don't know why. He gave me Busher. I think he might be on some fire or something. So who is your race winner this week?
My race winner actually sent something in the chat that was wrong. I apologize for being misleading in our chat, but I'm going with Tyler Reddick. So I got to researching a little bit and remembering and understanding that Tyler Reddick just beat their ass last year. No one was close to him. It wasn't really a contest. And we've seen that this year at COTA, where it really wasn't a contest. He had the field covered, and I think it was more of a driving style and driver talent and ability more so than anything. And I think that might be the case this week as well. We've already touched on Toyotas being fast. And I think because there's no tire wear, Sonoma, there's more tire wear. He struggled on long runs. He had quick qualifying pace and just struggled, right? I don't think that'll be the case. I think he's going to be really good here. He's plus 500. It's the second most likely guy to win based off of odds. So I don't love that aspect. But based off the Toyota speed, based off of his domination here last year, based off his domination at COTA, I think a lot of boxes are checked here with Tyler Reddick.
Can they stay out of their own way this week?
Yeah.
Hey,
I don't know.
Go ahead.
I don't know.
Well, you give a face there for sure there, Jason. Do you have somebody else better in mind that you're looking to take?
No, my face was it's not who he said he was going to pick, and I was really interested to hear his reasoning for who he was going to pick to win the race, but it's all right.
I changed.
You did change. It's rightfully, smartfully. I think you landed on a much better pick, I will say. I'm going to go a little bit different here, right? I'm not going to go with the second highest favorite, plus 500. There's been a lot of talk this week, about SVG, about all the ringers, coming to NASCAR. We've heard Ryan talk all these fancy names that nobody's ever heard of, but I'm going to be looking at the veteran NASCAR road course ringer. I'm going to look at AJ Allmendinger. The big advantage that he has over those guys is his experience, right? I don't think anybody's raced more races at this road course in the field than AJ Allmendinger. He's got 5 races here in NASCAR between Xfinity and Cup. He's got a win in both series, and he's never finished worse than 7th here in any series. So, I mean, like, obviously, he's really good at road courses. He's really good at this track. He's got to win here. Colleague, they made the decision a couple weeks ago to send Dinger over there to race the road course race in the Xfinity, and passed up on practicing qualifying. I feel like that's because they wanted to get him sharp for this race. Like, they know this is his best shot at winning, getting himself locked into that race. They're putting everything into this, getting himself locked into the playoffs. A lot of effort's going to go into getting him the good card, getting him set up to win here. I know he doesn't have a win yet in the next gen car, but he's been close a few times. He's still one of the best in the series in this car. He's ranked 4th in average position in the next gen car. 3rd in fast lap percentage, and 2 top 5s and 5 top 10s, and he has the 5th best average position in 2023 on road courses. So still running up towards the front, even though it doesn't feel like it. I think he puts everybody he shushes all the talk about all these guys coming into NASCAR. He makes everybody remember who he is. It's crazy to me that one of the best road course racers in NASCAR is coming in as like the 8th best odds guy, plus 1,400. Love that number there for AJ Allmendinger.
It is interesting. I'll tell you that for sure. I'm pulling up the odds and everything else right now. It looks like he's now plus 1,600. I apologize, Amber Alert.
Oh, wow. Hit it
plus
again.
1,600 now, and the 8th best odds. Reddick's also up to plus 600.
So I had one more guy I wanted to give out. I talked about him a little bit earlier, and that's Brody Kostecki. So he is sitting at, probably gone up since then, but he was sitting at plus 2,000 earlier. We obviously have a good relationship with guys that are plus 2,000. That's our thing, right? The plus 2,000 stood out. This is a guy that's every bit as capable as Shane Van Gisbergen. This is the same level of talent. This guy's been out there kicking ass on supercars all year long. Not as experienced as SVG, but still very, very good. And we saw this RCR equipment dominate road courses last year. We saw Kyle Busch be very, very quick so far this year with it. I think it's entirely possible that this guy comes out here and has a very fast car and is contending just as well as SVG is. Plus 2,000 versus SVG's like plus 700 or whatever it is.
Plus 500 right now.
Plus 500. That's just wrong. It's just wrong. The gap's not that big. It just isn't. I think plus 2,000 is a cool number if you're wanting to have a little fun on someone who's going to be pretty good in a good car that could sneak up and potentially win. I think, these V8 supercar guys understand what these cars are like to drive on road courses, right? That's why SVG adapted so well. Brody's going to be no different. And I think, honestly, the RCR equipment is probably a little bit better in trackhouse and road courses. I think what we've seen out Kyle Busch and Tyler Reddick last 2 years has shown that they are top 5 equipment-wise, at least with the elite drivers in them. And so it's a fun number at plus 2,000. I think once he gets on DraftKings, it'll also be an intriguing play to look at there as well, because I think he's going to be really good. And keep in mind, he doesn't have to worry about anything but doing as well as he can. There's no points, nothing involved. He doesn't give a damn about that stuff. It's literally finish as high as you can. So I'm excited for it.
Brody and Allmendinger are both even money, minus 110 to finish top 10, which is pretty interesting there as well. So a decent look there. If you guys are
AJ minus 110 for a top 10?
The top 10.
Bet it.
Yeah.
There's only 5 people watching this right now. I guess half of them hopped out when I started talking. But for you 5 people, go bet that.
So we are on Bodog or Bovada right now, and the top 10 finishes lines are Truex minus 400, Reddick minus 350, Elliott minus 300, SVG minus 300, Larson minus 250, Bell minus 165, Busch minus 150, Hamlin minus 125, Allmendinger minus 110, Kostecki minus 105, Buescher minus 105, and then McDowell, Chastain, and Byron
minus
are
105.
even.
Like, think about it this way.
8 and 9 on top 10.
AJ has finished outside of the top 10 once in the last 6 races on road courses. And that's not counting. I don't have Chicago in front of me. But like the dude's a top 10 machine on road courses. Like that's just,
well, he's
that's something bad.
5 of the last 9 top 10s on road courses. But to be fair, his average finish is 3 spots worse in his running position. He hasn't finished. But.
Yeah, if his power steering doesn't go at Sonoma,
Yeah,
he's had some weird things happen. But
right.
the last 6 races, he's been a top 10 machine. It's just I think that's a
he said Busher though too. Busher's longer, and Busher's 8 and 9 top 10s in the last 9 races.
Yeah, but Busher
and he's hot.
Busher's not an elite road course racer where I can rely on the talent, right? Like Busher's great, but he's not AJ Allmendinger on road courses. I trust AJ to deliver that.
I mean, if you look at driver rating, it says
but
it's
Busher's
pretty
great.
close in the last
great.
9 races.
Yeah, I mean Busher's great. It's still a wacky number on him too. I feel like I don't know. I feel like they're good bets.
Yeah.
All right. But there's a little extra bonus betting section. That's going to do it for us here on the Daily Fan Racing YouTube channel. Appreciate these guys as always.
Just so I can finish up real quick, I think I gave Busher shit at Coda, and he finished top 10. So I'm hoping maybe if I give Busher a little bit of stick here that maybe he'll run good again. But because last year their car was so good. I mean, they were great on road courses, and I wasn't sure that would carry over. It certainly has. So yeah, Busher, what'd you say? Minus 105. Yeah, that's a good option as well.
All right.
Plus 105, you said.
Oh yeah.
Minus 105.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. All right. Let's answer a few questions before we get out of here.
Subscribe to the channel, like the video.
Let's talk top 20 odds.
No.
There is no top 20 odds.
I'm
Before we get out of here, though.
I'm just joking. I'm just being stupid.
Shout out to everybody hanging out.
Data said.
Good luck this weekend to you as well, my friend. Thanks, James, for tuning in and showing me some love as well there. He wants quick thoughts on LaJoie. Quick thoughts.
Get that top 20 odds on LaJoie. Let's go.
There is no top 20 odds.
LaJoie's solid. He's actually probably my third favorite in that group. Priest and Gillen got a little love, but LaJoie's had top 20 finishes in 2 of his last 3 or 3 straight on road courses. He's been solid on road courses. I think he's going to have potential to finish in top 20 again. Deeper field, though. Keep in mind, this is a deeper field with more talent and a lot of good cars that are adding that depth, right? So extra RCR car, extra 2311 car, extra Trackhouse car. Those are elite teams, elite drivers, elite cars that could finish ahead of some of these guys like LaJoie Gillen. So their upsides may be chopped back a few positions as a result, but LaJoie's been solid. He's shown good results on road courses. So I'm a fan of that as a salary play.
We have theoretic leads with loser. The late caution always happens. And then quickly, Jason, do you think regulars will be aggressive and turn the ringers?
Oh, Corey LaJoie?
No.
Yeah.
Do you think the regulars will be aggressive and turn the ringers if they are up front?
Yeah, I think they will. I mean, they turn everybody every week. What are you talking about? They don't
Doesn't matter
who's
who it
in
is.
front of them. Who's in front of them? Have you seen any the end of any race? Yeah, they're gonna if somebody can get close enough to him, yeah, they're gonna.
Unless it's Martin Truex.
Unless it's Truex, yeah, he'll be clean.
Cleanest driver in NASCAR history. He'd probably, Truex probably have about 15, 20 more wins if he just turned some people. Like he's finished second, I think 3 of the last 7 races or whatever it is, and it's all because he just didn't move him. He's had the faster car. Like Pocono, he's faster. Nashville, he's faster. Here, last week he was faster. It's just aero blocked the entire way. But Truex is gonna be strong this week too. He's been unbelievable.
Real quick, because I looked at it, Corey LaJoie, average running position so far on road courses in 2023. He's ahead of guys like Todd Gilliland, Eric Almirola, Brad Keselowski, Bubba Wallace, Harrison Burton, even Ryan Blaney. He's ahead of on average running position. So yeah.
It's not
Corey
bad.
LaJoie to finish top 10 plus 1,000. All right.
No, don't do that. Definitely wouldn't do that.
Messing with you. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us here on the Daily Fan Racing YouTube channel. Jason, let them know if you got content going on this week, and if so, where.
Yeah, I have my usual article out this weekend over at runpuresports.com for free. Breakdown, cheat sheet, core plays, all the good stuff. Follow me on Twitter at DFS NASCAR if you don't already, and I'll tweet it out, or just go over to Run Pure and check it out. Sign up for all the other stuff. Football's coming. Football's coming quick, so go over to Run Pure Sports, sign up, and get you ready for some football. I should have a promo code, but I don't. DM me, and I can probably get you a discount.
This year, I'm beating Jason in 2 leagues. Yeah, I got 2 leagues against Jason.
I don't know. Your league's a little steep.
You should hear the other one. Anyways, Ryan, What do you got going on this week?
Same stuff as normal. We got 3 races. Excited to, like I mentioned in the beginning, excited to get to this truck race at IRP. That's a good one for us. And then Cup, Xfinity, got them covered as well. We're going to do Luke's article for free in our newsletter. So if you haven't already signed up for the newsletter, it's on my Twitter. You can sign up there, and we're going to post his normal article there for free this week. We'll have podcasts, projections, rankings, the whole lot for the other 3 races, and maybe some bets if I feel like it. We did so good with that last time, Gordo. Maybe we'll bring it out for everyone to see.
Hey, let me know. Let me know. All right, guys. And that's going to do it for us here. Once again, if you guys want to follow me at all, at Plays and Fade Sports on YouTube. I'm a UFC guy, though, so a bit of a different audience. Still gonna be fun though. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Wish everyone the best of luck this weekend. Hit the like button down below, subscribe to the channel, show some love to my co-hosts, and I wish everyone the best of luck this weekend. Let's make some money, guys. Peace.